This is SDR News and Geekazine.com's coverage of NAB.
Hey, HP storage guy Calvin Zito, continuing coverage here from NAB at the HP booth. Marco Stahl from Flavoursys. Really glad to talk to you, first of all. I think you came from overseas, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We come from Berlin, Germany, and had an 18-hour flight. Was stressful, but we are here.
Well, I hope it's worth it for you. I hope this is a great show. For people that don't know what Flavoursys, which I suspect might be a lot of people that are watching, what do you guys do?
Well, we're a software company that is specialized in the media and entertainment market, and we do software that helps post-production facilities to enhance their workflow with AVID Media Composer, FinalCut, and Adobe. Which basically means that we offer project sharing for AVID, FinalCut, Adobe, project management, like stuff like metadata, proxy files, and user and team management. So we are basically the feel-good part in the middle of the post-production.
So post-production, it's a fun environment. I've got to visit Hollywood studios, and AVID has its own kind of special requirements. So are you guys, how do you play into that AVID has such very specific things you have to do to work in an AVID environment?
Yes, so technically we are not hacking around or something like that. So we really have an own technological approach, but we don't influence, the way that AVID works. So we are safe if AVID, releases updates or upgrades of their software. The second thing that we're gonna do, we have a real expertise when it comes to post-production. Everybody at Flavoursys on some point worked in video post-production. So I worked as an editor back then, for a couple of years in German television. So we know how editors want to work, but how they cannot work at these days. So we developed Stawberry to give editors the possibilities to work the way they want to work.
And so I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
I lived in Germany for a while working for HP, and I used to, couldn't get any English TV, but I used to watch all these American shows that were edited, voiceover with German. Were you the guy who was doing that?
No.
Because some of the voiceover was just funny. But anyway, so tell me more about what you guys are doing.
Well, we basically have this product called Stawberry, and Stawberry basically is this all-in-one solution for project sharing. It is storage independent. It is of course optimized for HP storage solutions. It is independent to the editing application. It doesn't necessarily have to be an editing application. It can also be a color correction application or 3D compositing application. So whatever comes into your mind, basically.
So Stawberry is the name of your product. I'm fascinated by post-production. Tell me a little bit more about how Stawberry works in a post-production environment.
Well, when I talk to customers or give demos to customers, I always describe Stawberry as a software that does three basic things. The one thing is the project sharing, so the ability to share AVID, FinalCut, Adobe editing projects, and not just between AVID and AVID, but also between AVID and FinalCut or AVID and Adobe. So we are pretty much open to that. The second component is management, because sharing projects sometimes isn't enough. You need to find the information that you're looking for. You need to have some way of, adding metadata to your projects and to your proxy files. You need to do it. You need to make it as simple as possible for people to find the stuff they want, to edit, and then to have this material, these assets available within the editing application. So this is where most solutions in the market fail, because they're mostly developed from a very technical point of view, which of course mostly suits administrators, but which mostly doesn't suit the editors, because editors are creative people who don't want to mess around with technology.
Well, you sound like you're really fixing the problem of, editors, you want them to be creative. You just said with the question I was thinking, but you don't want them messing with technology. You want them to do their job of editing and not have to figure out how to utilize the technology.
Exactly. So for example, with some products in the market, editors need to mount volumes or unmount volumes. They need to know on which volume is the project that I want to access now, and then they mount the wrong volume or the right volume, and then they render media files, and they render to the wrong volume, then the media is offline. So these are all things. Those things happen every single day, and they happen more often than we might think. So with Stawberry, we try to figure out a way that makes it easy for editors to work with it, but also which avoids human mistakes, because human mistakes happen all the time. So this is what we did, and I talked about the two components in the beginning, so the project sharing and the project management. And Stawberry's targeting, because it's an all-in-one solution, also bigger customers. And bigger customers have the need, for some kind of access rights regulations, like, the administrator defining who is able to see which projects and who is not. So we also cover this part. We have a very easy user interface. We always said, well, we bring it down to 8 buttons. That's it. Not more than 8 buttons. We want people really to Sit in front of the editing system, 10 minutes introduction, that's it. Not a 3-day seminar in wherever, you know. This is how we wanted to approach this market, and we are very successful with that.
Great. Well, if I was going to open my own post-production, I think you just sold me, Marco. I'm going to go find Flavoursys and use it. But for people that are now interested, based on what you've said, where can they find more about Flavoursys on the web?
Well, you can visit flavoursys.com, our website. We have a great video on our landing page, animated concept video, 3 minutes, gives you all the information. And yeah, you can also, of course, visit the HP website. And we also have an HP solution brief, so there's a lot to find on the web.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time. I hope the trip all the way from Berlin and the 18 hours on the airplane is worth it at NAB, and thanks for doing this with me.
Thank you very much.